Hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome back for another week of Topics and Tips Tuesday. For those of you who are new to me, I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock, family nurse practitioner and founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. All right, this week, let's get into it. This is a hard topic, but I hear it all the time. I get these questions, these messages all the time. How do you bounce back after being unsuccessful on boards? You had an unsuccessful attempt and you really just don't know how to get back to it, how to study. I get it. I know. Been there, done that. So listen. First, you got to breathe and allow yourself time to grieve. And yes, I say grieve because it is a grieving process. You want to beat yourself up. You don't understand why. You're discouraged. You go through so many emotions. Give yourself that. You put in a lot of work. You bust your butt through school. And here you are. How did you get here, right? Got it. But we're trying to get out of this space. So allow yourself time to grieve so you can move forward. But we're not staying in this space. So I'm going to give you a moment. We're going to grieve. We're going to rightfully so get it, but we're going to dust it off, dust ourselves off, and we're going to get back up and we're going to get back to it, right? And then we're going to go back to the way I always tell you guys to study. Now, a common thing people like to do and what we get stuck in is like, all right, I was unsuccessful, so the stuff I used to study was not good. No, that doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean what you used to study was wrong, but maybe how you used it to study was the incorrect way to go about it to be successful. So just be sure to really sit down using maybe one, and I always say 1 to 2 things and resources so you're not overwhelmed. You're already overwhelmed because you were unsuccessful. And I want you to sit down and pick 1 or 2 of those resources. I also want you to sit down and really think about the 2 tests that you had an option to take. You can now have the choice, do you want to retake that same exam? One, it gives you a leg up because now you know what to expect. That kind of gives you a little ease on your anxiety from that standpoint, right? So you know kind of where to go, what to expect at this point. Or even now that you know what to expect, you can be like, girl, no, I don't ever want to see that exam again. Let me try the other one, okay? Cool, whichever works best. Think about your learning style, think about how you want to go about it, and then get back to it, okay? So those are a few things you want to process as you're walking through this phase. Now, when we get in that, the way we go a little bit different from the way that I tell you to study is they will provide you with a breakdown of your strengths and weaknesses. You know, I always talk about how to study, or if you've utilized my review book or taken any of my courses or seen any of my videos about test taking, I tell you guys for our nurse practitioner boards to study in the format of assessment, diagnosis, evaluation, and treatment because that's the breakdown. So when you get those results back, they're going to give you a breakdown letting you know your strengths and weaknesses in those formats. So it'll have assessment, diagnosis, evaluation, treatment with an arrow up, arrow down, telling you which one you were strongest and, weakest in, right? So I want you to start with those weaknesses. So if evaluation and treatment are your weaknesses, then hey, as we go through each condition and disease, what I want you to look at and really make sure you're spending time on is how do you evaluate this person? How do you treat this person? And you're like, Brittany, what does that mean? So, okay. So if you ever hear my breakdown, I usually like to use the example of pneumonia. So when evaluating these people, maybe using like Curve 65 and kind of seeing to really confirm that diagnostic exam and considering how you treat, you want to start thinking about how do I really evaluate that? Think about all those measures when you're studying that. Then how do I treat? Am I going to use a respiratory fluoroquinolone? Are they allergic to this? Do I need to bump up to the second line therapy? Think of all those measures and really spend a lot of time studying on that. And if it says like your strengths or like your assessment and your diagnosis, that just means like you're able to quickly identify based off of signs and symptoms presented to you, and you know different diagnostic tools that are utilized, like your gold standards, like your chest x-rays, etc., to confirm your diagnosis. But just truly understanding where your strengths and weaknesses lie, because I always say, hey, whatever we're weak in, we're going to start with that. We need to spend a lot of time making these weaknesses a strength, and then we want to spend the rest of our time maintaining our strength at a level of strength, okay? So again, let's start from the top. I want you to breathe. Allow yourself grace. Breathe through this process, but we're not going to stay stuck in this space. We're going to build yourself back to where you need to be. We're going to dust ourselves off, and we're going to get back to studying. We're going to utilize 1 to 2 resources, not meaning that we need to change from the resources we utilized first, but we want to utilize them differently to be effective this go round, okay? And then that effective measure, we're going to review when they send the results back to us, letting us know whether we're going to be strong or weak in, where we are strong or weak in, and we're going to start with those weaknesses. We're going to make those weaknesses our strengths, and we're going to keep our strengths, okay? And then I also want you to spend time with a true study plan, because it's a little bit different when you have been unsuccessful before, that you start to, as you study, say, oh, I remember something like this. I remember this. So many more factors and thoughts are running through our head, right? So I want you to give yourself adequate time so you can stay focused, but I want you to break it down in chunks so that you're not getting overwhelmed. If you need to partner with somebody to help hold you accountable, to help bounce some things off of, do that. But I also want you to start doing a little bit more practice questions so you can see if you are applying the content adequately. And I want you to keep a notebook with all of the ones that you have gotten incorrect, because as you review, I always say review your rationales. I don't want you just doing practice question, look at the score and move on. No. Whatever you missed, go back and review it and write those areas down that you got incorrect. Because what I want you to do is to review the areas that you got incorrect. Because again, we're trying to make weaknesses our strengths. That's our goal. So in a notebook, I say keep a notebook. Keep it by your bed. So right before bed every night, whatever, and this is going to be a running list. So as you're building each day with more things that you've gotten incorrect on practice questions daily, this is something you're going to review. So you're building on the things that you have already, reviewed before. Okay. So let's just hit it from the top real quick. Because again, I know I always hear I talk quick and fast or whatever. So I want to make sure that we got an understanding. And, I know it's a lot more detail into this, but I just wanted to give you a quick kind of like, hey, you got it. Let's just break it down. Let's breathe and let's structure this, okay? So you got the unsuccessful results. We're going to breathe. We're going to grieve. We're going to dust ourselves off and get back to it. We're going to pick 1 to 2 resources. It can be the same thing that we utilize, but we're going to study effectively. We're going to wait until we receive our results to see where we are weak and where we are strong. We're going to focus in on those weak areas initially, giving that a lot of our time to make that weakness our strength. The areas that we're strong, we're going to remain consistent in those areas so they can remain our strengths. And then we will partner with someone if need be. If not, it's okay. But we want to build a notebook with our practice questions after reviewing rationales of the ones that we have received incorrect answers on, so that we can build on those weaknesses as well. Okay. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm sorry that you were unsuccessful, but you will be fine. Delayed does not mean denied. So let's stick to it. Get back to it. You got it. You got it. Take your time. You didn't come this far to only come this far. Review back over the things. Pull your stuff back out. Give yourself 1 to 2 resources so that you're not overwhelmed, because this is not an easy process. But you will get there. You got to graduation. You've done the hard part. So focus in, breathe, and let's get back to it. And let me know when you pass so I can cheer for you. All right. Meet me back here next Tuesday, you guys. Talk to y'all soon.